I'm not originally from Beijing, but 现在我是北京人. I'm originally from, doesn't say here, but I'm originally from Los Angeles. Born and raised, but for university, I wanted to see something different. So I left, what happened there? I left my hometown of Los Angeles and I went to Chicago area. Actually 2 hours south of Chicago to UIUC, which is very famous for engineering. In fact, the Tsinghua campus is designed after University of Illinois. So they've copied everything. And it's also famous for its business school, very strong in finance, very strong in accounting. So I went there for my undergraduate, and then I worked overseas in Japan. So I worked for Panasonic, Songsha, for a number of years before coming back to the United States and working for Hitachi. So long ago, I was a fluent Japanese speaker. That probably explains why I can't speak Chinese, because the Japanese and the Chinese fight in my head. But when I had worked for a number of years for different companies, I decided I wanted to get an MBA, and I wanted to do management consulting at that time in my career. So I went to the University of Texas at Austin, which is a really outstanding school, great MBA program, and after 2 years there, I got a job at Deloitte Consulting, which meant that every Monday morning, I got on a plane and went somewhere in the United States. And then every Friday night, I would fly back. And then that meant on the weekend, on Saturday and Sunday, I was working on PowerPoint, on spreadsheets, on all kinds of things, getting in preparation for Monday meetings that I would have. So I worked there for 4 years as a manager. It was a great experience. And then I wanted something different. I had really enjoyed living in Asia. I enjoyed, the different challenges, the different excitement, the growth opportunities. And so I made the big decision to leave my job and come to China, and at that time set up Touchdown. And since 2005, have been working with Chinese students and young professionals, helping them see their future, get very clear about their career, and then helping them go to graduate schools. In the beginning in the United States, and then now we've expanded to wherever they want to go. So whether it's England or Canada, Hong Kong, we've had people who want to go study in Japan. So it doesn't matter. Wherever our clients want to go, we help them to be successful in their application process. So I have a lot of background in working with people, and I've helped many people every year get internships in China because I have a very large network of people that I work with. Like I mentioned earlier, I was meeting with the MBA China. And in fact, I'm going to invite them to come to my office and give a presentation about sports marketing. Is there anyone who likes sports marketing? Oh, is that a hand? That's not a hand. So we'll be having that event probably in the next couple of months. And then we've also been trying to help people get internships overseas. And so today, I'm going to give you a lot of information about how to do a search, how to best strategically position yourself when you contact companies, and how to hopefully interest them enough to want to give you an offer. It's not easy, but through hard work, a lot of hard work, you guys got into PKU. This is the toughest school to get into in China, so you guys are accustomed to hard work. And so I'm going to give you guys lots of tools that I hope will help you in your search. Now, why an international internship? Well, as I have here, a number of reasons. One is definitely giving you some experience in a possible career. Experiencing something different is always eye-opening and leads to new things. Definitely, it will build on what you've already learned in your classroom. And it doesn't necessarily have to be business skills. It could be management skills. It could be marketing skills. It could just be people skills. Because in different internships, you're going to have different projects. And working in an international environment is going to definitely challenge you to use everything that you've learned. Obviously, it's going to give you very valuable international skills. China is and will be continuously becoming more and more international. And that means Chinese companies will no longer just be happy in China. They want to expand. They want to grow. And the Chinese government is supporting Chinese companies to go abroad. Every province is giving money to companies to make acquisitions overseas. There's been tremendous acquisitions in South America, in Africa, and even more acquisitions of companies in the US. So there's a lot of opportunities overseas, so gaining international skills only makes you more marketable in China and anywhere else in the world that you want to work in. And even though many of you speak excellent English, the opportunity to spend 2 months, maybe 3 months, working in a US company, in a US charity, and some organization will help your English to dramatically improve. It will give you more confidence in your spoken English. And that's really important because for a lot of people, and I meet with people all the time, their English is really good, it's just they lack confidence because they don't get much opportunity to use English. So the internship will give you, 24 hours a day opportunity to use your English. And just being overseas and dealing with people in America, you definitely learn the real America, the real American culture. Many of you guys have watched Friends, or Big Bang Theory, or Mentalists, or I'm not sure what programs are popular, but that's TV. And just like Americans who watch Kung Fu movies and think that all Chinese people know Kung Fu, which is not the case, just like American TV programs portray America to be a little different than it is. So by going there, you actually get to meet the real Americans and see who they really are and find out that there's a lot of great people and that they're easy people to work with. And so that will open your eyes to future career opportunities. And, very important, gaining international experience helps you to stand out. It helps you to stand out when you apply to top graduate schools. It helps you to stand out when you're looking for top companies. International skills are just very important to everyone. So the more opportunities that you have to gain international skills, whether it's here in China, working with international students, or doing some competition that allows you maybe to go overseas, or actually going overseas and doing an internship, or even doing a study abroad. Any of these things help you to grow as a person. And the more you grow, the more skills you have, the more capability you have to create value for companies. Companies want smart people, but they also want people who create value that help companies to be successful. So the more you have, the more you can contribute to a company. And that's why, as I wrote here, so many people in China are applying to all the top companies. The more that you can gain in terms of unique skills, the greater your chances of landing that dream job or getting into that dream graduate program. So step 0. So we're going to go through a 6-step process. Step 0, make a choice. Okay, and there's really 2 choices. One is you use sort of a zhongjie, an agent, to kind of help you through the process. They can help you sometimes find paid and unpaid internships. They'll take care of the planning and preparation. They may introduce you to different companies. Of course, there's a fee involved in that. What I'm going to focus on today to talk about is how to do it on your own. How you guys can do your own search and actually learn from that process, and what you learn from doing this is also very applicable, as I was mentioning to somebody, the gentleman over there. What you do in this process is the same, or actually not the same, but it's very valuable for looking for internships here in China. So a lot of information that we're going to talk about is very relevant for overseas internships. It's also very relevant for domestic internships. But when you do it on your own, as I put it here, it's an adventure. It's going to be things that you would never expect will happen, and you're just going to learn so much from that experience. So, if you do decide to use an agency, I want to make sure that you get your value from that agency, that you have good results. So I listed some things that you should really do if you use an agency. And one is ask to talk to previous clients, previous people who've used your service, because they can give you an honest, straightforward opinion of how good that company was, how good the internship was, what they learned from it, would they recommend it. It's very valuable insights. If that company doesn't want to give you anyone to talk to, I think that's a warning sign. That's something you need to be very careful about, because a legitimate company should be very proud to introduce their existing clients to future clients. They should know that they do high quality work. They should have no problems introducing you to a few of their clients. So definitely, if you decide to go that route, make sure you talk to people who've used them before. The next thing is definitely be very clear about what they offer before you go and when you're overseas in the United States, what services, how they're going to help you. Make sure if they're going to provide lodging, what kind of lodging, housing they're going to provide. The more clear you are about what they provide, the better your chances that that choice is going to be the right choice. And last, and I put this on here just because sometimes people may sign up for a job, but then they get there and they find out there's no job. So you want to ask, if possible, for a letter of confirmation from the company or the charity that you're going to be working at. And the reason you ask for this is it helps two things. One, it confirms that you're working there. And secondly, it makes sure that they know you're coming. Because they're sending you the letter, it sort of starts the process of them making sure that there's going to be a desk for you, there's going to be a computer for you, that they're going to be thinking about what work they're going to assign to you. The worst thing is you arrive and nobody knows you're coming. And they're scrambling, and that really creates a very awkward situation. So we want to minimize that. So by getting this letter, it helps to get that process started and avoids any awkward situations. Now, when you choose the on your own method, and we're going to talk today about getting an internship in the United States, I mean, the first thing I want to point out is the US economy is not very good. In fact, it's really bad right now. So that creates more challenges. Not only are you an international student who's not in America, but the economy is bad. So that means you have to work a little harder. And I don't think anyone in this room is scared of a little bit of hard work, right? You guys are all hard workers here. So, but knowing that it's hard, that means you're going to have to push yourself to do more. And I always feel confident that people who push themselves hard and do more achieve more. Okay? They always expression, no pain, no gain. But I think that's in everything in life. When you're at an internship, no matter in the United States or in China, or when you're at a full-time job, the more you work and commit to it, the more you're going to gain from it. However, you're going to gain a lot from this endeavor. By doing this, you're going to learn a lot more, and you're going to be a much better rounded person. So I think the hard work is well worth it. So step 2. We've got to set goals, make decisions. People hate to set goals because when you decide on something, decide is a Latin word for to cut off. When you cut off, that means you're not going to do these things. And people like to keep all their options open. No one likes to cut away everything, just one thing. So people are afraid sometimes because they don't know if they've made the right decision. And if you don't know you've made the right decision, then you're afraid to make a decision. And if you're afraid to make a decision, it's inaction. You don't do anything, so you're unsuccessful. So I always recommend people decide on something. Try it. If it's wrong, if you don't like it, get rid of it. Decide on something else. The more you can focus on something, the more successful you're going to be. So it's very important to know what you're targeting for your internship. China is a big country, right? In terms of population, in terms of cities. America is the same size. Not quite as many people, but the same size in terms of land. So there's a lot of different opportunities at all different types of companies and organizations. So if you go out and look at all the opportunities, that's too much work, and you're not going to be successful because you're taking your efforts and spreading it too thin. But by trying to focus on something specific, a certain industry, a certain city, a certain type of job, that narrows down the number of choices and allows you to be more successful. So think about if you're looking for paid or not paid internships. These days, even for American college students, it's very hard to find paid internships. So my recommendation would be don't worry if it's paid. Focus on that it's not paid because that's more realistic. Location, America, I was talking with some people. You have West Coast, you have East Coast, you have Midwest, you have the South. There's all kinds of great cities. Now in China, most people only know Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Boston, and Washington, D.C. But to be honest, there's a lot of really awesome cities in America, whether it's Seattle or Tampa, Miami, Raleigh, Portland, Denver, St. Louis. There's lots of really great cities, especially in summer, that you could work in. So don't necessarily limit your choices just to New York. And we'll talk about some of the different considerations. Then in terms of industry, try your best to figure out what one or two industries interest you the most. And so start your search with those industries in mind. But if you see something interesting from something else, it's definitely okay. But try to narrow down your search. And also try to figure out, do you want to work for a company or a charity NGO? And we're going to, again, a little bit later talk about some specifics there. Working for different organizations can give you all kinds of different skills. You don't have to work for a famous company in order to have a great internship. Quite often when you work for a smaller, less famous company, you actually get more opportunity to take on responsibility. People are more interested in helping you, and you can actually have even a better experience. So the internship is not necessarily about working for a famous company. I think this overseas internship is more about the experience. It's more about an opportunity for you to grow as a human being. And that's why I'm really excited to share with you ways it's going to help you. So as I wrote here, the clearer your target, the more effective your search. And that's going to be when you guys go look for full-time jobs when you guys graduate. The more focused you are, the better your chances of landing a great job. Okay, step 2, searching for opportunities. Now, I've gone through a lot of different websites about internships, and I've tried to narrow it down to some of the best ones that are available. There may be other ones. There's always different things we can find, but I've narrowed down to ones I think are really good. Most of these are free. They may ask you to sign up. On their website, they have sometimes areas where you can put a filter and say, I want to work in US, I want to work in New York, I want to work in finance. And every week it will send you a list of any new internship opportunities. So most of these are free. Sometimes they want you to pay for extra services, but they'll give you enough information in the overview of the company. They give you the company name, where it's located, that you can go on the internet and find that company yourself. So you don't actually have to necessarily pay. But for example, internship.com, they offer you a premium service for $20 a year that allows you to get access to more information. So that may be more helpful to you. So this is an option. It's what, $20, 120 kwai, not so expensive. This one is sponsored by the Michigan State University. This one's free. It lists a lot of different internship opportunities. So these are all really good sources to go to begin your search, to see what's out there. So if tonight you guys are at a computer, if you go to a Wangba, or you go back to your dorm, but it has to be before 10 o'clock, and you want to go check out, so you can kind of get a feeling for what type of internships are out there. And there's all kinds. There's really all kinds of internships out there. And when you're doing searches on these, I highly recommend the search word internship, and United States, because some of them offer internships not just in the United States, but around the world. So you want to narrow down your search. Now, those were more company-related internships. But I also recommend don't limit your internship search just to companies. You can get fantastic internships at charities and NGOs. And so I've listed some sites here that specialize in internships with these. So for example, NGOs, you go to idealist.org, and it's very comprehensive. Lots and lots of different internship opportunities that would be available to you guys. Looking at the sheet, where's the sign-in sheet? So looking here, let's see. Looks like almost everyone here, no, not everyone. Yes, everyone here is from PKU. And so in America, PKU is like Harvard. So it's very prestigious. So when you mention you're from PKU, that to them means you're a top student. They're very attracted to having top people, because when you have top people, they can take on a lot of work and do really good jobs. So I feel your backgrounds make you guys very attractive for these internship opportunities. For charity organizations, charitynavigator.org actually goes into and describes different charities. It lists a lot of valuable information. It gives you the leaders of the organization. So it can help you find a really good charity in New York or San Diego or Seattle, exactly what it does, and the people who run it, their mission. I can sit right here. Fine. So that's a very good tool for doing research. And then another one is summer camps. in America, and more in China, the kids in summer will go to a camp. It's not focused on education. Typically the summer camp is sports and activities and just having fun. And they have camp counselors. And so I have a friend here in Beijing that sends Chinese college students over to the US to be camp counselors. So if anybody is interested in the summer camp program, at the end will be my email. Just send me an email and I'm happy to introduce you to that person. But again, for America, China has become more and more important. And for American students to interact with Chinese students, to understand more about China, to build up more commonality between the two different cultures, to understand each other better, is very important. And so for the summer camps, they would love to have some Chinese, not Chinese American. Because Chinese American are American. They just look Chinese. But Chinese, they look Chinese and they are Chinese. So because of that, you guys can share more about Chinese traditional culture, Chinese thinking, and so therefore you're very attractive to some of these summer camps that would like their junior high school and high school campers to be able to interact with international students. And then resources to leverage. Alumni, you have alumni working all over the United States and working in all different kinds of companies. And it's not just their company. They have friends at all other kinds of companies. So by reaching out to an alumni and asking them, is it possible that you could introduce me to your company or one of your friends' company for an internship? It's very possible they can help you. The worst thing they can say is no. But the best thing they say is, here, I can introduce you, or here's the right person to contact at our company about internships. So alumni is a definite resource you want to leverage. The second one I put down here is Asian chambers of commerce. And I just gave you an example. There's one in Dallas, there's one in Las Vegas, there's one in Los Angeles, there's one in New York, there's one in Philadelphia, there's one in Miami. There's one in every major city in America. And Asian Chamber of Commerce are typically dominated by Chinese Americans. And so as a Chinese student reaching out to them saying, I would love an opportunity to be able to come to your city and do an internship and learn more about your city and also contribute to helping that company, they can introduce you to a number of different people. They have their own newsletter, their own mailing list. They can easily forward your information out to the different people saying, here's a great student who's interested in an internship. If you would like to talk to him, here's the information. So that's a very good way to have other people help you. So you're actually able to outsource it, Weibao, to other people. And it's very useful. So these are some opportunities here. And again, they're in every city in the United States. And the last one is if anybody here is religious, if anybody here has a religion, for example, I'm Jewish, so I am a Jewish person, and there's a variety of different religions. You can reach out to, in different cities, the churches, and they're very supportive. They're very helpful about introducing you to the people in their church. And a lot of people in the church own businesses and would really actually enjoy having someone from China to come and work at their company over the summer and to learn more about China and help them to learn more about America. So people who are religious tend to be very, very big on helping others. So they would be very helpful in helping you get that internship. Now, when you're looking for companies, it's very important to do the company research. So I've listed here 2 websites. The first one, JobStar, actually aggregates a bunch of different research tools. So by going there, it gives you all different tools to help you, websites and other tools that will help you to research companies. The second one, which is called CareerShift, as you can see, it's a little more expensive, but that's because it gives you really extensive research capabilities. You can go and narrow down your search to all companies in a very specific area of New York City that focus on finance or focus on private equity or work in marketing, and it will give you the name of the people with their emails. So from the CEO down, they've somehow got all these people's contact information, and they have actual explanations of what the company do, their sales, their competitors. So this tool is more used by people looking for full-time jobs. But for you, it can help you to narrow down your search to companies that you want to reach to. You don't have to wait for the company to put out an offer, I'm looking for interns. You can directly go to that company and say, I'd like to do an internship at your company, and we're going to talk about the information to send. I'd like to have an opportunity to talk to you. And the fact that you contact them may be very interesting, and they may be open to the opportunity to interview you and seeing if you're a potential fit for an internship there. So these are very good tools for company research. Now, some considerations. I think it's very important. And I listed here, Fortune 500 companies versus private companies, small, medium, large, and charity NGOs. Now, for Fortune 500 companies, which is very similar here in China, you typically have to go into the website. They have a very, very formal process. They're very much going to be focused on visa. You're not a US citizen, therefore there's visa issues. So they're very inflexible. So the larger the company, typically, the more inflexible they become. So for these companies, you'd want to go to whatever the formal process is. The odds are it's very difficult overseas to get jobs in a Fortune 500 internship in a Fortune 500 company in America, where it's different in China, or you have a different advantage. Now, in terms of companies, again, small, medium, large. Again, large companies tend to be more bureaucratic, again, making it more challenging. But small to medium-sized companies, I think that's what I'll call a sweet spot. Those companies are more flexible, and they, in fact, often offer better internship opportunities because they're smaller, therefore they need more work. They have a lot of interesting projects to work on. A small company of 15 people, you might say, oh, that's a small company, but you can flip it around and say, it only has 15 people, they need help. And if I'm an intern there, I can really get a lot of valuable experience. I can do lots of different jobs, and I can really learn a lot. And also, the people are going to be more open to you. It's a small organization. It's more like a family. And therefore, you can really get some nice relationships with the people working there and go out to dinner and go out and do things on the weekends with people. So it creates a good environment. So when you do a search, don't just say a company's small, I don't want to work there. There are definitely advantages to these companies because, again, it's not necessarily the name on the resume. It's the experience that you can share in the interview. It's the experience that you'll take with you and help you to grow. That's the key thing I really recommend that you focus on when you do this internship search. And charity and NGOs. These organizations are starved for people. They're charity. They don't have money, typically, right? So a lot of people working there are volunteers anyway. And they're always working on something that benefits people. Benefits people in America, benefits people all around the world. They're all about helping people. So they were very open for someone who is interested in working for them. They'll, we call, bend over backwards. They'll go out of their way to see about helping you to get an internship. And when you're there, they typically throw lots of work at you. And the people are extremely nice. They're very helpful. So NGOs and charity groups are where I really recommend take a strong look at, because I think that is the highest probability of landing an internship in the United States. And they're also very, very flexible when it comes to visas. Because you're going to work there non-paid, therefore, going on a tourist visa, they're very open for you doing your internship there on a tourist visa. Now, in terms of cities, America is not like China, where there's lots of taxis, and still the taxi rate is still very affordable. Only a few cities have a lot of taxis, like New York, like Chicago. Most cities don't have taxis. It's very hard to get a taxi in Los Angeles, almost impossible to get a taxi in Los Angeles. So what I've done is I've kind of broken it down by lodging and transportation. I've kind of given you some cities that I recommend for certain factors. One, finding lodging in New York, Boston, Chicago, San Francisco. It's a little more expensive because these are premier cities, but there's a lot of opportunities in summer because there's a lot of college students there during the school year. When they leave, a lot of rooms are available, so it's much easier to find places to sleep. Plus, there's a lot of youth hostels in these cities, so that's also an affordable place for living. So these are good cities for lodging. Now, for transportation, America is a kaiche, we drive cars. There's not many cities that have very good public transportation. But I've listed the ones that I feel are really good. New York, Boston, Chicago, San Francisco, again, have good public transportation. But cities like Seattle, a lot of people who live in Seattle don't own cars because the downtown, where there's lots of internet companies, the transportation is very good. A lot of buses, they have rapid transit. Washington, D.C. is very good. San Diego is very good. Austin, Texas, they have a lot of buses, so it's very convenient to get around. Denver is very good. Orlando, which is where Disney World is, very nice. Raleigh has lots of transportation. Portland has great public transportation. So these cities, when you go there, it's very easy to go around. So a city like Los Angeles, even though it's a great city, you need a car. It's too big, okay? If you take Beijing and you combine it with Shanghai and you combine it with Guangzhou, LA is still bigger in terms of land. It's a very big city, and so getting an internship there may be very difficult to find housing and internship. Not saying don't look in Los Angeles, but it could be a little more challenging because of the difficulty in transportation. Okay, step 3. Prepare your resume, cover letter, and then you're ready to apply. So I'm going to cover some key points that I highly recommend that you begin to do in advance that will help you to stand out. We're going to talk about what to do on your resume, what to do on your cover letter, what to do on your recommendation letter, and your photograph. All right, so let's talk about resume. In China, I don't know why, but people don't pay a lot of attention to the resume. They don't work as hard to make sure the resume really is outstanding. They just put, typically job requirements. They don't focus on the unique qualities that are outstanding in them. A lot of times they don't list their accomplishments. They say, I worked in student union. What did you accomplish in student union? That's more interesting than working in student union. I was involved in a math competition. But what did you accomplish? What did you learn from that experience? Did you lead the team? How many people did you lead? What challenges did you overcome? So by focusing on the accomplishment, when people read it, you're much more impressive. You feel like you can do things because companies, charity groups, all want people who can accomplish something. A company wants to give you a project, and they want you to finish that project. Whether it's in 2 weeks or 4 weeks or 6 weeks, doesn't matter. They want someone who has a track record of accomplishment. So Americans will look at your resume. They will study your resume. And they'll be looking for indications that you're a person who can accomplish something. So it's very important when you write every bullet line, it starts with a verb and it talks about you accomplishing something in that organization, in that club, during that internship. Identify scholarships. Scholarships are a good thing. Don't hide the scholarships. And if you have a good class ranking, if you're top 20 in your class, that's as long as there's not 21 students. That's good. Okay, you don't have to be ranked number 1 in order to be good. Sometimes in China, people feel that, if I'm not ranked number 1, I shouldn't say anything. Or if I didn't win the competition, I shouldn't put it on there. Americans think very different. If you do a competition, that's more than most people. Even if you lost the competition, you still put energy. You still dedicated yourself to something. And that's impressive. So don't disregard things because you weren't number 1. And for class ranking, you can be overall in the entire class. It could be in your smaller class. You can play with that number. It doesn't have to be, so specific. And if you have a good GPA, put it on there. If you've won scholarships for 3 years, say you've won scholarships for 3 years. If you're the class monitor, definitely put class monitor. These are all impressive things. Now, Americans may not know class monitor. You may need to explain that you take responsibility for managing your class. But the fact that you take responsibility, that's impressive. Because think about it. The other people in your class didn't take that responsibility, just you. So that's very impressive. If you guys have any international experience, put it down. It doesn't mean you have to leave China to have international experience. It could be that you're in an all English language course. It could be that you're involved with international students. It could be like a group like Oval, where you may have done a competition overseas in Japan or Korea. So anything that you've done that's been a little bit international, I would definitely include it. If you had a professor that was from overseas, you may want to add that. Again, the reason you do this is you want to show them that you're not going to have a cultural challenge. You want to show as much as possible that you'll be able to fit in very quickly in the internship overseas, that you have some foundation of overseas experience. If you have any interesting research or projects you've done, definitely put it down. And when you talk about your hobbies, sometimes in China people like to write, I like skiing and soccer and football and ping pong and badminton and rock climbing and water skiing. And then when you enter F1, and then when you interview that person, they say, wow, you like F1. What do you like about F1? The cars. Well, who's your favorite driver? That German guy. And then your interview goes, because you don't feel honest. They feel like you just wrote it down there even though it's really not you. So I always feel less is more. Don't put every possible hobby. Put 2 or 3 hobbies that you really care about, that you really enjoy, that you're passionate about, that you can talk hours and hours about. That's the perfect hobby, because then when they interview you and they ask about, I like Japanese manga. Okay, and you can talk about all the different kinds of manga, and the different artists and the different styles. Like, wow, this person's passionate. I don't care about Japanese manga, but he's so passionate. I can feel that when he's into something, he really gets into it. And people like passionate people. Think about it. Even if you're not interested in it, the fact that the other person is so excited about it makes you kind of interested in it. It makes you interested in that person. So again, a few hobbies, but go deep into them and really share more details about that hobby. Makes you sound more interesting. And even though this is a UK school, it still has a very good website that talks about resumes. And so I recommend take a look at it. In the UK and Europe, they call it a CV, curriculum vitae, but in America we call it a resume. At the end of the day, it's the same thing. So the rules are very similar. Now, cover letter is really, really important, okay? A long cover letter is not necessarily a better cover letter, okay? But a letter that when someone reads it, it connects to them. They can feel something special. They feel like they kind of know you a little bit. That's the kind of cover letter that you want to send to these companies or these charities, because you have to get them interested. You guys are not in the United States, you're not American citizens, so there's a couple, chunks. You have 2 chunks, okay, not just one, okay? So you have to get over both of them. And a cover letter will make them interested in enough to at least want to maybe talk to you, either on the phone or via Skype. And if you get an opportunity to talk to them and they can feel you and sense that you're really, your English is good and you know about their company, that can help push them over and convince them that you're the kind of person they want to offer an internship to. So develop a template, okay? But this template is something for you to customize for every opportunity that you send out an email to, okay? So don't send the same exact cover letter to everyone, because the exact same cover letter to everyone means it's very generic. It doesn't share anything special, and if you're not special, you're forgettable. So we don't want to be forgettable. It's very important when you're talking about, show the skills that you have and connect it to how you can help that company. Too many people, and I recommend this even in China, don't talk in your internship how the company can help you. Talk about how you can help the company. The company doesn't care about you, okay? And honestly speaking, companies don't care about you. They care about what you can do for the company, right? And so when you talk about me, whoa, 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 they're not hearing their name. They're not hearing how you're going to help them. So it's very important that in the cover letter, you don't talk about going to your company will help me improve my English. And my English skills will get really good. And when I go back to China, it will help me get a better internship. And eventually, I'll get a great job. But people do that. People don't realize it. So I know when I say it sounds funny, but sometimes people do this. And I don't want you guys to make that mistake. So always talk from the company standpoint, how you're going to help them. again, in the email, again, share any international experiences you have, because you, again, want to show them that there's less of a barrier, that you're going to be able to fit in right away. You can say, you know, I did an exchange program to Hong Kong where all my instruction was in English. It was a very international environment. So I feel very strongly that I can fit in immediately to your company and create value, take on real responsibility because of my overseas experience. That's how you can show them that you're ready to do work when you get there. And the last, not the last thing, we'll go to another page, but be very clear that you do not expect to be paid. So be, in the email, cover letter, say, you know, you're looking for an unpaid internship. Be very clear that you're going to cover all the visa expenses, all the transportation expenses, all the housing and food. You don't want to create reasons why they say no. You want to create reasons why they say yes. You're not going to ask for payment. You're going to take care of all your own expenses. And you're going to come work for us, for Miente? All right. Chilai. So don't be asking them for things, because it only will make it more difficult for them to accept you as an intern. You want to make it as easy as possible. And that's why I highly recommend specify very clearly that you know you're not going to get paid and you know they're not going to cover any expenses. In that cover letter, be very clear that you'd love to have a quick phone call, and use the word quick, you know, because quick could be 10, 15 minutes, very easy. Because you just say interview, they may be thinking, oh, at our company, we typically do an hour-long interview, and person's in China, it's too far. I don't want to spend an hour, probably can't hire them. Quick talk, a quick Skype. Like, quick, right? You know, sounds good, right? Quick, I can talk to that person 10 minutes, and if they're good, then we can talk more. If they're not good, then it was only 10 minutes. So that's why I emphasize it's a quick, short interview. Mention that, you know, because because you're not going to be paid. It's unpaid, that you won't have any visa issues. Let them know that you really want to not only help the company, but it'd be a great chance for you to learn about American culture and meet Americans. You know, it just feels good. You know, you're coming there to learn about American cultures. Americans are very, very proud of our culture, and we always enjoy sharing it. And so by doing that, you show that you want to learn more about America. It just makes people feel good about you and more want to help you. And I put on this website. This has lots of information about cover letters. So if you go there, get some ideas on how to format a cover letter. Again, Chinese formatting of emails and American formatting emails is 不一样. Okay? So when you send to Americans, I recommend using American style, because it's more comfortable. It's, again, shows them that you're ready to work in America. Spell check it. You know, don't send an email without being spell checked. Grammar is as best grammar as you can do, okay? I know at Touchdown, when we have clients contacting schools, you know, we always review all of their cover letters to make sure everything is well done, because we want to be professional. And so when you send a cover letter, always think, I need to show myself as being a professional, because that's what they're looking for. If you're not professional in your email, the feeling is that you're not going to be professional at the internship. And I know, talking with many admission directors, like at university, Washington University, when they receive very poorly written cover letters or emails, it really hurts the applicant. And often they can't accept that person because they feel that person's not professional. So cover letter is a very important opportunity for you to show how you're going to benefit that company, that you have no requirements in terms of you're not expected to be paid, that you have no visa issues, and that you are ready to go, that you are prepared to send more letters of recommendation to prove to them that you're just an outstanding applicant for their internship program. And recommendation letter. I encourage you to include a recommendation letter, obviously in English. It should be signed, should have the email and phone number of the recommender. It can be 163 or a CINA account. It doesn't have to be necessarily a university account, but it should be clear that it's written by someone you either worked for or a teacher or you did research for. It just gives them a feeling that you've worked for someone, and that person will talk about your leadership, your learning abilities, your responsibility, your commitment, any of these good qualities. It will make them feel that you're definitely worth someone we should try to at least do a Skype interview with. Let's give them a chance, because all we're trying to do is get them to give you a chance to talk to them. Okay? That's the step one. We got to get them to talk to you. And if they talk to you, then we can impress them in the interview. And if we can impress them in the interview, then we get the opportunity for the internship. And I encourage you to scan the letter and put it as a PDF and attach it. So the cover letter is in the email itself. The resume is attached. It can be either a Word document or saved as a PDF. The cover letter is a PDF. And the last one is a picture of yourself. The reason I say include a picture of yourself is because, you know, ni shi lao wai. So when you guys go to America, ni men shi lao wai, okay? Not Americans are lao wai in America. So in order for them to feel more comfortable, they want to see you, right? It always feels more comfortable. Because if I just send you a resume, and I just send you a cover letter and a recommendation letter, I think, this person's good. But if I can see your face, if I can look in your eyes, okay, it just makes me feel more comfortable. I feel more human. It adds a humanistic part to your email to them. So the picture, you should be dressed well, okay? Don't be in junky clothes. I mean, if you're in a cheap house, a woman, that's fine, because cheap houses are very beautiful. But don't be in a party dress, like you're going to go to the club. It should be more professional. It doesn't have to be super professional. It doesn't have to be the interview suit that's black with the white blouse with your hair all pulled back. It doesn't have to be that formal, but it should be at least business casual. Okay, you should look good. Don't grin like that. Smile. Okay, you'd be surprised how many resumes that I get in China with a picture, and the person looks so upset. Okay? They look, it's like, how do I want to talk to you? You don't look friendly. Americans like friendly people, so in that recommendation, in the picture you're going to include, you should be smiling. You should be friendly, because you're going to go work at that company. If you're not friendly in the photo, you're probably not going to be friendly in person. It's not true, but subconsciously, people think that way. So smile. Okay, good smile. All right? The next one is make sure you have a good background. Don't just go to Walmart and just take it in front of Walmart. It doesn't look right. You want to have a professional background. It could be in the library with the books. That's fine, but you want to look for a background that makes you look more prestigious. I mean, it could be here if you have a lot of very complicated mathematics, calculus, and just standing there. That would be okay. And in fact, if you want to take a photo with your parents, that's fine too, because we all have parents. We all love our parents. And so with your parents, this shows you're more of a family person. You're a very caring person. So that creates a very positive impression of you. Some people always ask me, with glasses or without glasses? For most people, glasses adds like 10 IQ points. You look smarter with glasses, right? So, Americans all think Chinese people are math geniuses, okay? And then you put on your glasses, you look like a super genius, okay? So glasses are fine, but if you take a picture of glasses, clean your glasses, okay? Make sure your glasses are straight, okay? You'd be surprised. People do this all the time. But if you don't wear glasses, it's fine. It doesn't matter. And then in terms of the size of the file, when people send pictures, sometimes they don't shrink them down. They send a 9 megabyte photo, okay? Now, on a high-speed internet, it's not a problem, but you don't know if that person has a high-speed internet. They may be checking their email on their phone, and you're eating up their data. No one likes that. They may be at home and they have a slower internet and it takes like a half an hour to download. They get your thing, jerk, right? So I'm not saying make it super small, but I would make it no bigger than 1 megabyte, okay? And you can shrink it down by size. You guys can do a number of things, but don't be sending 3, 4, 5 megabyte photos. No one appreciates it. Okay, step 4, interviewing and choosing, okay? How to prepare for your interview, okay? Again, focus in the interview how you're going to help that company, okay? You can talk about all your experiences, and then this experience has given me skills that I can use to help you. And this competition, I worked with 4 people. I really improved my teamwork skills that will help me at your company. So everything you've done should all point back to how you're going to help that company be successful in whatever job you're going to do for it, okay? You should basically be saying a lot of the key points on your cover letter. If you did your cover letter right, it should have all the key points, so you should match. Don't read your cover letter to them. That would be strange. But you should be reconfirming the same things you said in your cover letter, how you're going to help them. So your cover letter is sort of your outline for how you want to prepare for the interview. And if you're not familiar with Skype, get familiar with Skype. You know, when you apply for graduate school, you know, almost all the interviews these days are going to Skype. So for all my clients, we tend to practice on Skype to make sure that they're very comfortable. Because in Skype, you have the camera here and the picture here, right? So a lot of times people look at the picture the whole time and they talk. And so the interviewer only sees their forehead. So you have to think that you're on CCTV and you're talking to the news. You gotta envision there's a camera there and you talk to the camera, okay? It feels uncomfortable, but that's why you gotta practice, right? Everything feels uncomfortable the first time you do it. The more you practice, the more comfortable you become. So practice talking to the camera, but you can always look down for a second, but then look back up. Look back up. As much as possible, try to have good eye contact. Because the eyes are like a window into the soul, right? Eyes are very important. So for Westerners, if people don't look you in the eye, we feel that they have shifty eyes and that they're dishonest. There's something dishonest about a person who won't look at you in the eyes, right? In Asian cultures, you've been taught, don't look people in the eyes because that looks like you're aggressive, you know. Not so much these days, but older Chinese people tend to feel very uncomfortable looking people directly in the eyes. So for when you deal with Americans, when you deal with Europeans, look them in the eye, but smile, okay? And you'll be fine. And that's how you really connect to them. So that's why looking into the camera is very important because you want to have really good eye contact. Now then, in choosing the internship, once you get some offers, verify that that internship meets your requirements. Don't just jump at it. Make sure that the work that you're going to be doing is going to be something that you want to do, that matches with what you're interested in, that's going to help you, okay? I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to have to pay for a plane flight over to America. You're going to have to pay for housing and food and transportation. That's dongren. But the internship you're doing, you want to make sure it's good. You want to make sure it's worth, all the money that you're paying to be able to be there. So that's why you want to verify it. And once you get the offer, once they say you can do an internship at our company, now you can begin to see what they can help you with. Maybe they can offer you homestay. Maybe they can have someone meet you at the airport. Maybe you can carpool in the morning with one of the employees, so that way you don't have to worry about taking a bus. So once you have the offer, then you can begin to ask. So like, for example, when I work with students applying for graduate school, I say, do not talk about scholarships until you get accepted. Once you're accepted, then you can say, oh my God, I can't afford to go to your school. Can I have a scholarship? Okay? But during the first interview, before you've been accepted, if you ask about scholarships, or if you mention about the difficulty to pay the very high tuition, they're not going to accept you, because I accept you and then you're going to demand a scholarship. I'll accept somebody else. So only after you got the internships do you start to ask for what other resources they can provide to you. And especially charities, they have lots of resources that they can provide to you in terms of help, because they're all about helping people. Okay? Now, beware. Okay? American people are nice people. Chinese people are nice people. But there's always bad people, right? There's always somebody out there who's not a nice person. So it's very important that you make sure that the internship that you've secured is a real internship. It's not a fraudulent one. So I'll give you some quick things to look at. So one is, again, always do research about that company. Verify that company as much as you can. Make sure that it all feels good. There's a real website. It's not a P.O. box. It's a real address. If they don't actually give you an interview and hire you to say, oh yeah, sure, you look great, we'll hire you, be a little bit skeptical. because it's very unusual to get an internship without, actually it's very unusual to get an internship without interview. And especially as an international student, they want to check your English skills. They want to make sure that you're warm and outgoing. So they're definitely going to do an internship for a legitimate internship. So if they don't give you an internship, my feeling is it's not going to be a good internship, and it may actually be a fraudulent internship. And if they ask you to send money to secure your position, run. Don't walk, because that's not a real position. They should not be asking you for any money to secure anything. Okay? You're volunteering. You're going to work there for free. There's no reason why they should be asking for any money. Okay, let me give you a successful example from last year. I had been introduced to an NGO in Austin, Texas, and that NGO mentioned they were open to Chinese students. And so I went out and told a number of my clients that this NGO, they focus on the rainforest in South America. And what they do is they go in and they teach the people there how to be self-sufficient and how to use the resources around them in a sustainable way. So don't cut down all the trees and sell the trees. Take the leaves off the trees, take the bark off the trees, and use that as a way to generate money. So they go down and they do these different trainings all over Peru and Ecuador. And they find ways that these villages are able to create money and create a better life for everyone in those villages. And so they needed help. They need help with their programs. And these Chinese clients, students of mine, who are my clients, contacted them with good cover letters, well thought out resume. They got Skype interviews. They were able to show that they were very interested in the charity. Now, before I told them about it, they knew nothing about the charity, and they weren't that interested in the rainforest per se. But once they did research, they began to know more about what this charity was doing. They could see the value for society that it was creating, and they became very interested. And they could explain in the interview why they wanted to contribute to helping this charity with its efforts. And so 3 of my clients were able to actually work in Austin, Texas last summer. So the charity put them up in housing. They found homestay families for them, and the homestay families provided 3 meals for them: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And the NGO, the people there would take them out and take them to bars and to restaurants and to all the cultural things. They had an amazing time. They just loved it. They were all crying, I heard, at the end of the internship, because they really were able to connect with the people in the NGO. They really felt that they did something. And in fact, one of them decided that because he had such an amazing time in Austin, Texas, that he wants to go to the University of Texas to get his graduate degree in the future. So, it's definitely possible. It's definitely doable. It all comes down to just making yourself, known to these different organizations. And I've given you a lot of clues how to find the opportunities, how to stand out for those opportunities, how to stand out when you get that short Skype interview, how to really connect with the interviewer and prove to them that you're a great applicant. Because Americans are very open. They're truly open to Chinese students. Companies all feel that they need to know China better. All charities would love to get ideas from China. So there's a lot of opportunities. It's just a matter of swimming out to that opportunity and making it happen. Okay, let me tell you why you're there, what you can do that will really maximize the value of that internship. Well, first of all, this is my iPad 3, and I want to thank Steve for the iPad 3. So you're the first people in China to see an iPad 3. It looks different, doesn't it, than an iPad 2? All right, first thing is when you arrive at the company, almost everything I'm saying here is the same in China. And almost everything I'm saying here, people don't do in China. So you guys, by writing this down, you're going to do much better in any internship that you have. So first thing is, when you get to the company, don't hide at your desk. Go around and talk to people. Spend the first day or 2 introducing yourself to the different people. It feels strange in China. You're supposed to wait to be introduced. But be proactive. Go up and introduce yourself to people, because that will expand your network within that company. And other people get to know you. They might offer you different projects, interesting stuff to do on that internship. So it's really important, especially in the United States, is introduce yourself. Let them know that you're a student from PKU. You're doing an internship there for the next 2 months. Because people might go, wow, I want to know more about China. Maybe I'll take that guy out for lunch. Maybe I'll invite him out for dinner because I know he's a student on his own. And that way you can get to know people. If you don't go around introducing yourself, no one gets to know you. You're just some person there. And Americans are shy people. I know it's hard to believe, but you're the foreigner. And so Americans expect you as the foreigner to come to them. They don't typically go to you. In China, it's different. I'm a foreigner. People tend to come up to me. Although it's less and less these days. When I came first to China in 2001, everyone came up to me to practice English. Everyone. When I came here in 2005, not everyone, but still a lot of people came up to me, but a lot of people looked at me. These days, no one cares about me. I walk somewhere, no one cares. Lawai, who cares? But I like that way. I don't like to feel like everyone's staring at me. But when you're in America, you have to take that first step. You need to knock on that door and say, hi, I'm from PKU, how are you? Okay, so if you do that, that will quickly widen your network of contacts within that company. The next thing is do research. Even when you're there, keep learning about that company, about the products, about its competitors. The more you know about that company or that charity or that organization, the more when you talk